I would argue that confidence grows with preparation. Let's take a really practical example. Let's say you want to invite friends over for dinner and you plan on cooking this elaborate meal that you've never cooked before, and it might work, it might not. Cooking something can always go wrong. And let's say you cook that meal 2-3 times beforehand in preparation. What do you think? You think you're gonna be more comfortable and confident cooking that meal when your friends are over, or less? Of course you're gonna be more confident. The same is true for a date, and especially first dates. There's so much stuff you can prepare beforehand. It's not that you're gonna learn canned lines and learn all these pickup routines or whatever. No, it's not about that. It's about figuring out what you want to talk about, what you want to learn about the person. It's about figuring out what's gonna make a great experience for both of you, Because, I think everyone wants to give their dates the best date they ever had, Everyone wants others to say about them, hey, the date with him was so amazing, or the date with her was so amazing. Like, we all want to have that. So I think it really pays off to invest some time and effort into preparing for a first date. The preparation I'm talking about can be split into 2 parts. The first part is what you can do a few days in advance. Okay? That's what I'm going to talk about now. So the first thing that's really important and that so many people miss is the right mindset. And the right mindset is that, the other person already agreed to go on a date with you. That means they already like you. So many people go to dates and they think they have to sell themselves to the other person. But no, that's not the case at all. They already like you. And with online dating these days, especially they like your looks, So you can rest assured that they are already somewhat attracted to you. So it's less about building that attraction and more about, not losing it. The second tip I have for you is you should always make sure to keep the interest high prior to the date if there are a couple of days in between you asking her out and you going on the date. So I see too many people who ask a woman out on, let's say, Monday, and they arrange a date for Friday, okay? And then they don't message her or communicate with her at all until Friday. That is a huge mistake, guys. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because, we always, dating has so much to do with emotions, and these emotions, they are fidgety. They can come and go. And on that day, when you agreed to go on a date together, the emotion was there and was high, and you had that connection. But then, when the days pass, that connection can get lost. And it's really weird when, you don't really know, he didn't message me at all, and is he gonna show up even? And vice versa. This is true for both sexes, by the way. So you should always make sure that you at least exchange a few messages in between. And especially, I would say, you should always confirm 24 hours beforehand or so the location and the time, okay? And this just makes the other person feel much more secure in, oh, he's not gonna flake or she's not gonna flake on me. My next tip is a really awesome one, my personal favorite, to be honest. It's designing the experience. So when you meet someone, there's, endless opportunities, endless possibilities of what you could do together. And just so many people settle for, let's have a coffee, let's go for a walk, especially during the pandemic. So many people just went for walks, and that's fine, there's not too much that you can do. But if you're a little bit smart about it and a little bit creative and invest some time and effort, then you can just make it so much more special than just these standard dates that everyone does and everyone goes on, okay? And you become more memorable to the person you're seeing. So I'm gonna give you an example of what I mean, okay? So if you go, let's say, for a walk by the river, That's fine and all, but what could improve that experience? Music could improve that experience. Maybe on that walk, there's a little shop where you can get, sandwiches or drinks, or maybe the weather is nice outside, and you can just grab a backpack and bring it along for the walk, and then you're gonna sit down and you brought a speaker and maybe a bottle of wine and some glasses, and the experience just becomes so much better, even though you didn't have to spend any money for that, basically. And it's just about, what makes the experience awesome? What do I want to do? What kind of date would I enjoy going on? That is the essence of all of this. What do you enjoy? Not necessarily what does my date enjoy and I'm only gonna do what I think they are gonna like. No. Start by asking yourself, what kind of experience would I enjoy? And once you have that down, then you can make it so it's a great experience for both of you. Because that, it's always screening for compatibility in dating. And if you design an experience that is amazing for you, but the other person hates it, then that already tells you so much about the compatibility between the two of you. And in all likelihood, it's not going to be a good fit with someone like that. So that's another aspect of preparation that I think is really important, and that is preparation helps to screen for compatibility. So as I said, you want to think about, what's on my way? Where could we go to? What if the weather changes? What if it's raining and you agree to go for a walk? What's your plan then? Are you one of those people who are just going to say, I don't know what to do, let's just postpone it and do it another day? Or do you have a backup plan? Always have a backup plan, You have to design the experience and you have to plan for certain eventualities that are quite likely. And the weather changing, if you're gonna see someone outside, is a high possibility. So think about those things in advance. If you wanna play music, maybe create a playlist. Put together a few of your favorite songs. Maybe I recently went on a date and I just love to sing, even though I'm not a good singer. But it's just so much fun and it feels great for me. And so I put together a playlist with a bunch of songs that are easy to sing along to. And it was awesome. The person I was seeing, the woman I was seeing, was kind of like me in that sense. She also really enjoyed singing and she knew all the lyrics of those songs, and we had a great time just because of that. It was such a little effort. But if you just, put the speaker there, and you want to play music, but you have no idea what, and then you ask the other person, what do you like to listen to? I don't really have a preference. That's just not good enough if you want to create the most amazing experience, okay? So put in that little bit of effort and you're gonna see that your dates are just gonna shine so much, and the person is gonna, they have never experienced anything like that, Especially like men don't invest anything usually into a date. So you can really stand out from the crowd if you do. You should always review a bunch of questions that you want to ask her or him. Because, not just that you have interesting stuff to talk about if you prepare some questions, but as I said in the intro, if you want to find out certain things about the other person, let's say you want to find out what's their relationship with their family, That's something really important to find out about a person. And I think that if you prepare, as if you'd prepare, let's say for an interview, you're gonna prepare for certain things in an interview. But a date is basically an interview. Of course, it's much more casual. Of course, there aren't any rules. Of course, there isn't any money involved or whatever. The stakes are lower, of course. But essentially the same questions are going to come up time and time again. What do you do? Have an answer for that. Maybe you can ask her about what she does in a more interesting way than what do you do. Maybe you can, relate to something that you already know about her and ask about that. Maybe she mentioned that she, is an athlete. And maybe you want to find out about what kind of athlete she is and all that stuff. it's just so easy that when you're on a date and you're nervous, that you miss a lot of the things that you wanted to find out about the person. And so I find that, by reviewing a bunch of these questions that you want to ask and really getting down to what is important to me in another person, what is important to me in a potential partner, and getting down to the essential questions that will give you answers for that is super important in my book. So I recommend that you come up with your own questions, and they should be open-ended. But there are also good resources, like you might know that those questions to fall in love, I think it's 36 questions to fall in love. Just Google it, you're gonna find it. Also, most online dating sites have prompts. You can look those up. Stuff like that, get a few interesting questions down. It's also good in case you run out of things to say, So many people get nervous, oh fuck, I don't know what to say anymore. Well, if you have a bunch of questions prepared, then it's just so much easier to come back to that, talk about it, get back into the rhythm of the conversation, and you're just gonna feel much more relaxed and at ease if you have something that you can always go back to, and that isn't, just some weird nervousness question that you regret later, but it's actually something that you want to learn about the person. Okay, so let's talk about what you can do on the day of the date and to prepare for that. So basically a last minute preparation. The first thing I would say is you should always review her profile and your previous conversation. There are so many people I see who they message with someone, then they go on a date and they can't even remember what they talked about in the message. That is just very unfortunate. I think it shows a lack of effort. I think it shows a lack of involvement. It hints that you are doing the same thing with so many other people, and like that person isn't special to you in any way. So I would say do a quick review. Go through a profile. Make sure you don't mistake her with anyone else. Make sure you know like what her name is and stuff like that. I know it sounds stupid, but you wouldn't believe how many people we work with at Reconnected who, think they have all of that down, and then they go to the date and then they don't know her name anymore, for example. So just do a quick review. Another really important tip is you have to get into the mood before the date. And what I mean with that is, get your energy up. Prepare for it. Have fun. Put on some music. Do some light workout. Get the testosterone flowing if you're a guy, and make yourself feel sexy about yourself. Check yourself out in the mirror. Play your favorite song. Jump around. Dance. All that stuff. It's just gonna make you much more loose. It's just gonna make you much more at ease, and it's just gonna improve the experience in every way. And I know a ton of women who do that, and I know very few guys. So again, make sure you invest that little bit of effort to get ready and to be at your best. It's so easy and so important. I once had this date, and the woman was living in my area, and so it was only like a 5 to 10 minute walk over there. And so I thought, well, yeah, I can wait till the last minute and then walk over, and I'm gonna be fine. And so I ran like 15 minutes late or so, and I felt really bad, because I'm not the kind of person who does that stuff. I'm usually on time, and so I apologized and told her I'm gonna run a few minutes late. It wasn't a big deal or anything, but it really stressed me out because for the 15 minutes, for only being 15 minutes late, I already had to run over there. And so as a result of that, when I arrived, I was sweaty, but I just couldn't tell her, well, just wait another 10 minutes until I'm not sweaty anymore. So that really put me in a quite stressful situation. It was fine in the end, but I think it makes sense to plan in a little bit more time than you usually would. The next tip is one that I think is not obvious to most people. And it's one that has changed my life for sure. And I'm pretty sure it might do something for you as well. I call it get ready for success. Make sure you are ready for success. So what does that mean? Let's say the outcome of the date that you were looking for is you guys get along great, and you ask her back to your place. And she agrees. She wants to come back to your place. So would you be ready for that outcome? So many guys aren't. You wouldn't believe it. So many guys aren't. What I mean with they aren't ready is their apartment is a mess, let's say. It's really dirty, all their clothes are laying around, the dishes aren't done, all that stuff. And they feel so embarrassed about that they screw up the situation, that they act in a way that prevents her to come back with them to their place. And it makes it really weird. Like it makes her wonder, is he even into me? What's happening? Why is he so weird now? And all that stuff. All of that could be avoided by preparing for the best case. So always make sure you clean up. Always make sure you change your sheets. Always make sure you don't have dirty clothes laying around, whatever it is. Make sure your apartment or whatever place you plan to bring your date back to, in case that should evolve, that place is ready for you to not feel embarrassed. That is super key, guys. So another aspect of that is personal hygiene. It's incredible to me that I still have to talk about this subject in this day and age, but I see it time and time again with clients, with friends, with all kinds of people, okay? You have to make sure that you feel comfortable in your body. You have to make sure you feel comfortable if she wants to kiss you. You have to make sure you feel comfortable, if it comes to sex or to some sort of intimacy, okay? You can't feel insecure because you're thinking about, am I reeking of sweat? That's just, all that stuff is completely unnecessary. You can prepare for that. Prepare to meet the person of your life. That is a good mindset, I would say, to, get ready in the way that's necessary for you to feel comfortable in case the outcome that you were going for happens. When I say outcome, of course, it's not like, you plan to, we're gonna have sex and I prepare to have sex with her, blah, blah, blah. No, it's more like you don't have any outcome in mind, but if it happens, if that should, develop from you guys getting along so well, then it shouldn't be a problem and it shouldn't cause new problems. This is really important, guys. I have a personal example where I completely screwed that point up. I was on a plane back from Florida to Germany, and on that plane I met two lovely women, and one of them was sitting next to me. And at that time I had already traveled for like 12 hours and I was tired and I still wore the same clothes, and you know how it feels when you're traveling forever. Like you don't feel quite you don't feel like at your best. You don't feel like you're gonna smell good and all that stuff. And it made me so insecure, to be honest, that I just completely screwed up the situation. I acted weird, and even though we were getting along great, and I'm very sure she was into me and I was into her, and her friend was lovely as well. I got along great with both of them, but I just couldn't get over that nasty feeling of I smell bad, or this is like they're gonna realize that I'm whatever, they're gonna think that I'm disgusting or whatever it is. So make sure that doesn't happen to you. Make sure you maybe you have a checklist of things that you want to do, like clean your ears, brush your teeth, clean your tongue, shower, shave, whatever it is, okay? But get a good routine going and make sure that you feel comfortable with whatever situation is going to arise from the date. My last tip today is that you should always have a follow-up plan. What do I mean with follow-up plan? So let's say you're on a date, you have a great time, you enjoy each other's company, and it looks like you guys are ready to hang out again. Congrats, and it's awesome that you got that far, but what now? Well, so many people make the mistake of ending the date, going home, and then trying to arrange the next date over text or PM or whatever it is, okay? Don't make that mistake. Make sure you have a follow-up plan ready and propose that on the date. So you should always arrange the second date before the first date ends. That is really important, you know. So make sure that you have a plan for what you want to do for a second date with that person potentially. So you have something to propose to them. So before the date ends, you could say, hey, I really enjoy hanging out with you. How about on Wednesday, we meet up and I cook for you, or whatever, whatever the plan is. Doesn't matter as much what it is, as much as it matters that you have one and that you can propose that plan. It makes you look much more confident. It makes you look more mature. It's just a good idea in every way. And sometimes when you don't do that, it just cools down so much in the meantime, and that person, it's not that fresh anymore, And also, like, it's so much easier for a person to lose the attraction, to lose that emotion that they had in the moment with you. And then maybe they're not gonna say yes to a second date just because of that. Could be that it has nothing to do with you. Maybe it just cooled down emotionally. So make sure you have a follow-up plan. If you enjoyed this video, please do me a quick favor and like and subscribe our channel now. It really helps us, and it only takes a second. Thank you so much, and see you around.